So how the judge gonna choose who is the best idea and who is the best project? So they're gonna use different criteria such as demonstrating business or project demonstrating collaboration across the fellowship, and also business address irrelevant social issues in the fellows region or country. So after the presentation, which is gonna be around 7 minutes, the judge will have a chance to ask 2 questions maximum, and after the presentation of the 5 fellows, then the judge will leave the room so that they will do the deliberation, and also we fellows will have a chance to ask the participant question by the time. All right? Okay, so now I would like to introduce the first participant, Mr. Manuel Francisco from Mozambique.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. It's a pleasure and privilege to be in front of you. I'm here to present a project titled Antendere Learning Center. My name is Manuel Jack Francisco from Mozambique. I'm a teacher by profession. I run an NGO called Antu Antendere. Antu Antendere means People of Peace. It's a community development organization that supports children in area of development, participation, and protection. In 2015, Antendere received a grant from US Embassy to defend and disseminate children's rights through radio and sport program. Currently, Antendere has a vision to open Learning Center. The aim of Learning Center is to develop the spirit of leadership in children and adults in Shemba district to build off the community development achieved through US Embassy grant. In 2015, Antendere conducted need assessment and found many problems that children and their families are facing. Due to government sensitivity to share the found, I'm presenting here general issue without statistic. Early marriage, early pregnancy, dropout from school, child abuse, local and subnational conflict, risky behavior like drug and alcohol addiction are the main problems that the families and the community are facing in Shemba. In all these problems, the most vulnerable people are children with disability and women, and there is no any organization working in partnership with the government to solve this problem. So Antendere Learning Center project will have 3 major programs to solve this problem. First is Antendere Child Development Program. This will contain preschool program and after school class will help children in academic subject. Second is Antendere Vocational Course. This will support youth and vulnerable women. We are going to have vocational course. Third is Antendere Family Program. This will empower family to implement children's rights. This is a new project of Antendere Trust. We haven't received any grant for this project. Currently, we partner with the local community radio to defend and disseminate children's rights through radio program. This program will benefit 250 people per year. Next year, we are going to host Mandela Washington Fellow for Professional Practice. Participants of Antendere Learning Center, children, youth, and the caregivers will build life skills and be provided with a sustainable economic opportunity while learning how to build a peaceful society. With this, we hope economic growth, child rights will be attained, decrease in risky behavior, decrease in violence against children, decrease in local conflict, and we will have more peaceful and resilient community. All programs of Antendere Learning Center will be for free because the aim is to help to support the most vulnerable people. Our vocational course teacher will work 8 hours per day, 4 teaching in the center and 4 other providing service. For example, sewing course will make clothes, uniform for schools and company, and we're going to get money from there to sustain the project. Our aim is to expand the project within the province in 2 years, within Mozambique in 5 to 10 years, and within Africa continent 10 to 15 years. For this project to become reality, we need $30,000 US to pay teachers, to buy furniture, and the capacity building of the staff. This is the general idea of Antendere Learning Center, to build skilled young leaders and more resilient community through these 3 programs: Antendere Child Development Program, Antendere Vocational Course, and Antendere Family Program. Thank you.
So now I will invite the judge if they have any question. So feel free to ask Mr. Francisco.
Thank you. This project is sustainable because we're going to have vocational course. And our vocational course teacher will work 8 hours per day. 4 hours will be teaching in the center and other 4 hours providing service. For example, we are going to have a sewing course. Sewing course will make clothes and uniform. We're going to sell those clothes for school and company. We're going to get money from there. ICT course will have a internet cafe. People will come and pay, and we're going to get money from there to sustain the project.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation. So I just have a quick question for you. It relates to the impact. I just want you to understand how the course can have an impact on someone that has been exposed to war, for instance.
Okay. I think everybody knows the situation of Mozambique. We will need a center that will help children. The center have 3 programs. The first program is antenatal child development program. This will have a preschool program and the after school program. In after school program, we are going to teach life skills. We're going to teach ICT, English, Portuguese, mathematics, and this will help children. Will help children to develop their career.
So, sorry, I'm just going to share the mic.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Francisco, for this really great presentation and also this really great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, for Francisco. Okay, so now we have Ms. Jane Gill from Malawi, which is our second participant.
Good afternoon. My name is Jane Jere from the Warm Heart of Africa, and my project title is Mulanje Children's Rehabilitation Center. I'll tell you a little bit about Mulanje. It's a district that's located in the southern part of Malawi, and I worked there for 1.5 years as a medical officer. And while I was working there, I met a 15-year-old boy who had cerebral palsy, or has cerebral palsy. And at 15, he's not able to walk, he's not able to stand, and he's not able to sit without support. So it's children like Mike who inspired my colleagues and I to start this project. And Mulanje district, like many other districts in Malawi, does not have any rehabilitation services. And that's physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. And the nearest facility where these children can get these services is about 60 kilometers away, and it costs $4 per person to travel there. And the majority of the population are very poor. So our project is targeting children who are 18 years and below with disabling conditions such as cerebral palsy, and also their parents and guardians. And a census that was done in 2008 in my country showed that 2.4% of the children below 18 in Malawi are disabled. But this census did not include functional disability. So 2008 is a long time ago, and also the number is probably underestimated. So currently, so far, what we've done with our project is we've started a clinic that runs twice a week. And since the 25th of April, we've registered 58 children. The youngest is 7 months and the oldest is 15 years old. But where we want to be is we want to be able to offer these services daily and also to reach more children in the more remote areas of the district. And we want to also offer psychosocial support to the parents and guardians so they have better understanding of how to take care of their children. We want these services to be provided at the district hospital so that these children can also have access to other services that they may require because they sometimes have other health issues that need to be attended to. And we also want to be able to collect more data. As you saw, we don't really have much data. But since we've started, every week we're registering more and more children, and this is just from the center of Mulanje. So the partners that I'm working with is a young man who's a rehabilitation technician, who's the one who's currently offering the physiotherapy. And also we have a board, which is comprising of a few teachers and some mothers of children who have such conditions. We've raised about almost $300, which we use to buy mattresses and pillows to start having these clinics. And we need a lot of equipment. That's what we need the most to sort of start up our project and to set up a data management system. So we want to be able to identify these children early so that they start getting these services in good time, and also to reduce the burden of transport that is currently there for them to travel from the district hospital to the central hospital. It costs, like I said before, about $4 per person to travel there. And if they get a chance to get free transport from the district hospital to the central hospital, they have to wait for 1 or 2 days just to get 1 hour worth of physiotherapy. That could be once a month even. So we want to be able to improve the function of these children so that they'll be more independent and have a better quality of life. And also, if they are more independent, their parents will be better able to provide for them because they'll be able to do other things. And we also want to be able to collect reliable data for future use because we don't have enough data. We believe this project is sustainable because it is approved and welcomed by the district assembly, and we have support from the district health office. We've registered it as a local nonprofit NGO, and the plan is that it will be embedded in already existing health facility. So this will build the capacity of the district hospital and prompt the Ministry of Health to post rehabilitation technicians and physiotherapists to the district, because currently our University of Malawi has got physiotherapists who are graduating. And this project is replicable in other rural districts as well. So this is a picture that I took during one of the clinics with consent from the mothers of the children getting physiotherapy, and the man at the corner is Roderick, who I told you about, who left his job to come to the district to start providing the physiotherapy. And we believe that we'll be able to help these children have a better chance at life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. So, any question by the judges?
Congratulations on it seems like there's a real need for what you're targeting here. I have a question also about the financial aspects of sustainability. Can you elaborate? It seems like the breadth of children that you want to serve is quite wide.
Yeah.
And imagine the cost for different types of equipment could be extensive. Have you thought about narrowing the scope so that the funding, if it comes in a lot lower than you think, can be focused on individuals or children with a particular need? What is the cost, I guess? I'm trying to understand. There are people, there's equipment.
Yeah.
It sounds like you believe the space will be provided, but
Yes.
have you thought about narrowing the scope so that the cost is maybe more manageable?
Narrowing the scope is more in terms of equipment, because what we're targeting is that we have government-paid technicians, rehabilitation technicians, and physiotherapists at the hospital. That's why we want to have the center right there so that we don't have to pay them. The problem is we don't have any that are posted there. We have people graduating, but they're employed by the private facilities, because even in the districts, even if they're there, they don't have like the materials to help the children. So what we really need is equipment, and there's some equipment that we can get locally made, like CP chairs and some walking aids would be cheaper to get them made right in Malawi rather than buying
Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Congrats for getting this going.
Thank you.
So I'm quite impressed that you've demonstrated a real understanding of the need and that you're also taking a holistic approach in addressing the problem. But because this is an innovation in your area of work, and it's fantastic that you want to embed it in current district hospitals, but what will it really take for it to be adopted, especially from a capacity perspective, and how do you see yourself rolling it out?
Sorry, from the what perspective?
Capacity,
Capacity.
especially with such scale ambitions.
I think it would take dedication from the government also working with us, especially the ministry, because the ministry is already burdened and they prioritize other conditions or other diseases. And that's why we thought of coming in and sort of supporting the ministry to be able to now provide the services. So if we collaborate well and find a way to make it all work so that we provide equipment and have the facility running, but also supporting the district hospital, I think that's what it would take. Like, partnership is the most important thing, and working together. And we have good support from the community so far, because the space that we're using is a church that one of the pastors heard about, and he said, okay, you can use this space to start using, to start having the clinics. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jane.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome our third participant, Mr. Aaron Wewa from Zambia.
My name is Aaron, and I'm going to talk about the Enhanced Voter Monitoring Platform. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. Okay. Sorry. No.
Yeah, I think we run out of battery, I think.
I'm going to talk about the Enhanced Voter Monitoring Platform. According to Kofi Annan, elections are by their very nature conflictual. Thus, the electoral processes need to keep evolving. This is what motivated the creation of a citizen-led voter monitoring platform through which stakeholders are going to track and monitor electoral processes by exchanging information through words, pictures, sound, and videos, plus location-specific mapping. What challenges are we trying to address here? 1, accountability. 2, transparency. 3, citizen empowerment and involvement in the electoral processes. Further, we are also trying to revolutionize the way elections are monitored across the African continent. This platform will also provide us a basis for corrective action once anomalies are noticed in the electoral process. The beneficiaries of this process will include, among others, the different political players, the general citizenry, as well as both local and foreign election monitors. This platform is structured in such a way that it can be run as one complete unit with different components, or it can be run as different independent units which are run by different stakeholders. On this journey of developing this platform, I have worked with 4 fellows from different countries, as well as 4 ICT experts from different parts of the world. Currently, we have spent 7,500 on this platform so far. Most of it has gone towards research because we want to ensure that we have a platform that will respond to issues surrounding the elections in Africa. What are the immediate short-term impacts? Number 1, through this platform, citizens will be empowered so that they can themselves independently monitor the elections in their country. 2, through this platform, employment will be created for people at different levels. Also, this platform will provide a solid basis for correcting anomalies once they are noticed early. Also, this platform will provide a reusable election monitoring toolbox. The more it's used, the more it will be improved. What are the long-term impacts? In the long term, this platform will be used to analyze critically the success of elections. When we notice gaps using this platform, it will be easy in the long term to improve the different electoral processes. Once this platform is rolled out and citizens start using it, they'll feel connected to the elections. They'll feel they'll be in a position to monitor their votes. Thus, in the long term, this platform is going to contribute to increased voter turnout. This platform is sustainable and replicatable because it is designed in such a manner that it can be scaled down or up depending on stakeholder needs. Also, it can be run as one unit or different units by different stakeholders. And what is good about it is that once people are trained on how to manage this platform, they can then use it themselves without the guidance of the creators. This diagram shows you the different components of the system and how they are all linked to provide stakeholder information on election in real time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today enjoying various freedoms due to the sacrifices that were made by the Mandelas, Kaundas, and Nyereres of this world. Now it is our turn. I have no doubt in my mind that we are ready to take up that challenge. I agree with President Obama when he says that real change starts from the ground. We, the young people, are on that ground. Here and now, let us all resolve to protect each and every vote that is cast at the ballot box through the use of the enhanced voter monitoring platform. I thank you.
Any question?
Thank you, Aaron. I guess this is what Africa needs. My question is, you said you've spent quite a lot of money on research. So of the developing countries, which one has the best system which shows accountability that you came across that we could probably reapply instead of starting from scratch?
Well, what we are doing is that we are not picking a specific country per se. Of course, it started from Zambia, since I'm from Zambia. But we have been wanting to compare different systems and look at the gaps, and especially the areas which require vital information, which influences the monitoring and evaluation of different processes. So we have, as case studies, looked at the Zambian system, the South African system, the Nigerian system, and the Kenyan system. So all those, granted, they are similar, but there are still areas which show that there are gaps in the way the elections are monitored. And we have also engaged actively the different civil society organizations that are involved in the monitoring of elections so that we know what sort of information they are looking for. Because we want to craft a system that responds to the needs of the users. This is why we have not rolled it out as yet.
Hey, Haran, very good. Just one question in terms of your stakeholders. You started with that quote from Kofi Annan talking about conflictual nature of elections. So how are you planning about the conflict of interest on the different maybe stakeholders that are interested on your project? And how do you think you can come with a solution that will meet the different needs and different interests?
Well, like any competition, elections are conflictual because people are fighting for power. But most people actually have been responsive towards this, this system because it is like it's giving them authority and power to monitor their participation in the process. So, for instance, the political parties, it's giving them a tool that will ensure that their vote is not stolen. For the average citizenry, it is giving them an opportunity to monitor the vote once they cast it right up to the very end. So the key really has been engagement to show how valuable this process is to the end users and how also important they are to the whole process of monitoring elections. So in other words, it's like we are making their work easier and we are enriching the process so that the results that come out are reflective of the will of the people.
Thank you, Aaron. So, ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome Ms. Cindy Tombini from Swaziland.
Greetings, I'm Cindy Ndombini, co-founder and managing director of Bala Africa. Bala Africa, Write Your Destiny. We came up with this business proposition because we believe that our children are the future and we wanted to invest in Africa in that way. As you can see with the statistics behind you, if children don't get to read, then they don't get to learn and they don't get to progress. So we stand here pitching a concept that can change an entire future for a country. Uh-oh. It's not working. It's not working. Which one? The player. Okay, so there's been a drop in enrollments in at primary school level, and education in rural areas, early child development phase is practically non-existent. And the repetition rate is really quite hectic in Swaziland, and a number of teachers don't even possess the qualities that are required for a child to teach children. And if you look at it, when we started this business, we wanted our children to read and learn more. But then we realized that children aren't learning because they don't actually know how to read nor learn. So we realized that there's a gap. So the difference between me and a person who lives in a rural community is opportunity. And then we realized that if children can't read, then they can't learn. So we needed to get back into the communities. As Bala Africa says, write your destiny. And we want people to take a participatory role in their learning. So if you look at a child living in a normal, in a household that they get a lot of attention in, they get 5 times more exposure to words that they get spoken to them. So we decided that in order to give back to the community, we wanted to develop a curriculum that will empower the African child and And this is why we have this project. So in short, we want to train teachers to learn to teach better. And it's not working out for me today. I'm so nervous. Yeah. So Bala Africa really just wants to promote literacy in our communities. We want to play a participatory role in our communities. We want the African child who can change the future of a country to be empowered. So we believe in empowering a child from early child development phase. So in the short-term impact of our project is that we want to promote literacy. We want to take our characters that we already have in our books, which I forgot to bring up, the Shenanigans of Momo. We already have a 30-title children's book series. So we want our characters that we currently have in our books to continue their journey in software where children and teachers can actually learn better. Our project actually is globally accessible. And we've partnered with various people, including the Dingundla centers in Swaziland, of which there's 55 of them. And through these centers, which already have computers, we'd be able to reach 30 teachers at a given time. And in turn, they would then reach 30 children over a 6-month period. This model is actually able to replicate this model in different communities. So it's not only going to benefit just one community in Swaziland, it's going to benefit many communities in Swaziland. That's just the cost breakdown. So I'll just speak from my heart. When we were in primary school, we had the good fortune of going to a private school in Sifunzani. So no matter how much we tried to keep up with everybody, we just couldn't because we're from a working class family. And this meant that our mother just really focused on putting us through school. But when haven't even received a formal learning by the time that they get to grade 4, which is very scary. And the thing is, it's like, if we want to change Africa's dynamic, we have to focus on today's future. They say it takes a village to raise a child. And that is what we are trying to do. So we wanted our kids to read books, and then we realized that children living in rural communities have never been exposed to books, have never been exposed to inside of a library. They don't even have the luxury of even buying a book. Even when we were at school, other than going to the library, which we had to fight for the good books that we wanted to read, we couldn't go home and read those books. So now what we want to do is take these white elephant Dingundla centers. We want to be more into the communities. Yes, we run a social entrepreneurship project, but we want to be in communities. We want to change the destiny. So we want to make Bala Africa something that you as Mandela Fellows can take and replicate wherever you are. As is, we've spoken to various stakeholders. We've spoken to the Good Work Foundation in South Africa, where we've partnered with Mandela Washington Fellow from the 2014 cohort. There's the Mandela Washington Fellow from the 2015 cohort who own schools, who had said that if we translate the software, if we're able to develop the software and we're able to put it in schools, then they will happily use that software. We have also spoken to numerous Mandela Washington Fellows that are present today, and we realized that through collaboration, we can actually take this thing further. So it's not only about this 30-title children's book series that we did when we developed this in 2010. It's more about we want to change Africa's destiny, and it begins here in this room. Yes, we have a lot of things that actually, there's a lot of disparities that exist that have been there from the past. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old son. Just yesterday, he was doing a test at a very good academically inclined school. But if we don't give him the attention that he deserves, if we don't have teachers of the caliber that we deserve to have, then we are actually shortchanging our children. If you look at it, you find teachers that have no more stamina to be in the classrooms. So we want to take the situation, we want to bring it to the communities, and we want to say, you can take ownership of changing your children's destiny. And that is why Bala Africa is standing here imploring to all of you to take advantage of this opportunity and believe in us, because we can change the destiny of the destiny of our young people. And it begins here today, and it begins here with all of us. We've been talking about ICT, we've been talking about communities, we've been talking about the short changes that our leadership has given us. Maybe we can't change the way we were brought up, but we can make sure that our kids have the best future that they deserve. And so we can Bala Africa together as a fellowship and as an African continent. And what's nice is that even the children living in diaspora, they deserve to know. Anyone in this world deserves the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to go further, the opportunity to be believed in. It takes a village to raise a child.
Thank you, Cindy. So before you go, I would like to ask the judge if they have any question.
Yes, thanks. Cindy, I commend you for putting this together. There's quite a shortage of, I would say, proudly black children's literature. So this is a real need in our region. Having said that, I'm quite keen to understand who are your key partners for distribution, and have you considered looking at target audiences that would be willing to pay for the series? Because I think that could be a huge part of your sustainability.
Okay, I'm so grateful for that question, because when we came up with this 30-title children's book series, we also have a 10-title children's book series, which is in vernacular languages. And we've actually started translating 20 of these titles are already translated into the Siswati language. So that is our one project, our one product. But then we realized that, you know what, we're actually not being relevant if we're not taking this thing to the community. So we have a target audience. We are in bookstores in Swaziland. We are available in South Africa. We have a footprint. We have customers from all over the world. You'd be amazed at the power of technology and social media. But now, if you start off a project and you want to promote literacy, and then you see literacy not getting promoted in the sense that because the people who are the custodians, who are the caregivers, the parents and the teachers and the village are not getting an opportunity to use this product because they don't know in essence how to read, then it becomes irrelevant. So yes, we have a market for this. But in terms of what we would like to do now, we would like to develop a software where we take the shenanigans of Mumu, the very same characters, which is the twin brother and sister that get up to all sorts of fun things in modern and positive settings, and they're Afrocentric. We want to take those very characters so that a child can journey with those characters, get attracted to those characters. It's 30 titles, so it's already a series. So now take those characters, put them on an online, on a technological platform, then you have the kids. And the thing is, we're not saying that we want these books, like, I mean, there's nothing that differs. There's a lot of software that's available for people to learn from. But what we are saying is that how will our children learn if they don't even know how to read? And how will our children learn to read if our teachers don't even know what they are there for? So that is why we have taken these very same characters, and that is what we want to do. We want to be in the communities. We want to be part of that village that raises a child.
Sorry, I'm a little confused still, I guess. Are you talking about marketing the software directly to the children, to the families, or for the teachers and the parents?
Okay, so basically, with the software, what makes us different is that we realize that there's a gap. So we're developing the software because there's a gap where children and teachers need to learn. So we're marketing it to the teachers. So we would like to bring in 30 teachers over a period of 6 months. And in turn, they must go and educate 30 students or learners at early child development phase up to grade 1 and grade 2. So that it makes them more accessible to staying within the education system, because the drop rate, the school dropout rate is already too high. So we need to get the teachers and the educators and the parents involved so that our children can access this. And this is a project that Bala Africa wants to do outside of its for-profit business. So it's a community based projects where it's a once-off thing. If we are able to develop this software, we've already got permission from the Dingundla centers to actually roll out this entire program, then we would actually become relevant and more effective in our communities, and we would actually be achieving what it is that Bala Africa set out to do, and that is to write the destiny and correct the disparities of the past by giving our future leaders that platform.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
So our last participant, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Bakan Pale from Botswana.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bakan Pale from Botswana. I'm a real estate developer by profession with over 8 years experience. I've worked on some of the most successful projects in my country, which include currently the largest shopping mall. I'm a registered property valuer. I'm the chairman and co-founder of Botswana Green Building Council, as well as an independent grading assessor for Botswana Tourism Organization. Tololo Fund is a new initiative I'm working on. It's a fund that identifies businesses with individuals with talent and ideas and unearths them. It currently has 3 businesses in its preliminary phase, which include the Lusus Chocolate and Cake, owned by a young woman called Thelma, who hops from one house to another house over 2 years to bake her cakes, and Tololo wants to buy her equipment so that he can start a business. A young man by the name of Mr. Sheneke, who works as a security guard at night and goes to school in the morning so that he can survive, and Tololo wants to help him to start a security company business. A young man by the name of Batista, who traveled all the way from Francistown looking for greener pastures in Gaborone. Very talented in cutting hair, but does not have the right equipment and the right location so that his talent can make him wealth. Which way? What? Here. Oh, but it's not. Okay. Yeah, now it's gonna slow my flow, but I'll catch it again. Okay. Can we go back? As I already said, we currently have 3 businesses in its preliminary stages. Our aim is to address social and economic challenges in this business while creating an ecosystem to spark entrepreneurship within our communities. We want to instill business operation that will also address climate and environmental issues. We want to address levels of poverty, levels of unemployment among the youth, so that in Botswana currently what has happened, we have about 20 to 30% of unemployed youth. What is the challenge? The challenge is that we need to go back to the grassroots level and make sure that from the grassroots level, we can empower entrepreneurs who can then create employment for these. We will target 6 youth projects per year, then address these challenges. These are young people who lack the ability to network and to raise capital. It's the small little things that at times we take for granted amongst these youth. It will also focus on those youth who wishes to address those challenges. The fund services will provide feasibility and viability for business plans. It will assist the business in instilling with the experience I have from grading ecotourism facilities, where part of grading those facilities is to make sure that the running of those operations have green sustainable principles. It will offer mentoring and funding for the social investment businesses, and it will offer business training workshops, as well as networking opportunities. Currently, the fund has 2 directors, one of them being a fellow from Botswana, Penyo Moroka, and we're in the stages of finding the operational team for the fund. We have already, in our own personal capacity, and we'll touch base later on how we invested that money, spent over 1.2 thousand US dollars, which is about 15,000 to about 15 to 20,000 pula. The short term is to put an operation team together to identify a minimum of 3 businesses every year, to secure funding with strategic corporate institutions, as well as apply for social grants. We want to align and partner with business, clubs, communities, and universities as well to identify youth with talent. The long term is to monitor the sustainable growth of the business funded and mentored by the social fund, while also addressing the environmental impact and promoting the business operation. We want the businesses to create, the individual to create wealth for themselves, as well as elevate poverty within their communities. We want to create a new pillar of finance to this individual who struggle in access funding from banks. One of the biggest challenges we face as young people is the ability when we go to seek for funding to show track record, to show credibility, and for you to get funding. Some of these youth we want to help are youth who all they need is to be mentored in terms of them building a track record, so that when they go to the bank, all that paperwork is well placed. Some of them, as a way of example, the Baba we want to invest in, he does not even know what a letter of recommendation is. One of the ideas I said, as your people walk in, let them write your letters of recommendation, so that when you get to a bank, that could be part of your credibility in showing that you do have clients. We want to, once the parameters of the fund work and the model, to replicate this model in all towns and villages in Botswana. The sustainability of the fund is that there will be return parameters put into place. There will be a scoring system which we are currently working on that will also detail the risk profile of each and every business. We will also identify quantitative and qualitative measurement tools so that we have the ability to measure the social impact of what those businesses are doing in the community. And those are ongoing processes. The long-term vision is to create a business and entrepreneurship ecosystem in our communities in Africa. I want us, we are inspired by the story of David. David, a man who was talented in playing the harper and played for the kings and ended up being a king. These are individuals with talent that can take them further. We want Thelma to one day bake his cakes and chocolate for kings and queens. We want Batista one day to own retail salons where he can also be a barber for the esteemed. We also want Sheneke, Mr. Sheneke, to be able also at the same time to operate a big business. And these are real issues that are affecting our communities. These are real issues that need to be addressed and requires us in our capacity to be able to address those issues. What we require is for each business a minimum fund of between 2,000 to about 3,000 US dollars to inject into the businesses. The shareholders or the company Tswelelo will exit in 2 years of those businesses. The business owners will be given 2 years to determine how they want to pay up the loan. Nothing is for free. And we want to instill a responsibility, the mentality that we all ought to go out all the time and seek grants, that we have no responsibility in how we pay them. At the same time, our bigger vision is to spark an energy. Our country lacks the energy of like-minded people. And we can only address these challenges if we start from the grassroots levels. We want to create an energy where they can be interlinked in terms of how business do and work with each other. Thank you very much, and I hope.
Thank you, Baka. That's great. Before you leave, I would like to ask the judge if they have any question.
Yes, Dumelang Banking. Well done on the presentation. So my question relates to the need that you're really trying to address You mentioned that you think that there is issues around networking and issues around funding. In Botswana, which is a relatively wealthier country in Southern Africa, I don't think that there is a lot of need for funding. It's well capitalized. And I believe that there are organizations with the states that provide funding for entrepreneurs and so on. So my question was really to understand what and how you are going to address, what gap exactly you are trying to look at, and how then different it is going to be with the existing funding that are available in that country.
I think you're absolutely right. The issue has never been about the availability of money. I think the big issue is the understanding of the individuals and how to access that money. What we aim to do is to bridge that gap, to make sure that they're able to create. This is why in one of the services we spoke about feasibility and viability of the businesses. Our view is a lot of youth with ideas at grassroots levels. What we take for granted in terms of that, as you have already put it, that there's money. Why are people not accessing it? Already there's a gap there, and this is the gap that we're trying to address. But with that, we're also trying to offer mentoring so that the business can be sustainable in the long run. One of the things that we're doing with one of the businesses for the cake and the chocolate is that our government has grants that gives to youth, which is about 100,000. So we're currently also working with those different businesses so that they can access those grants. But without proper coaching, without proper mentoring, that becomes a challenge for individuals.
Bakang, you're in a situation that I found myself in for many years, and sometimes I kind of dip back and forth. So part of the trouble is that you, an ecosystem builder, targeting startups who can't pay, and you're an entrepreneur at the same time. And one of the toughest things is when you speak to financiers or often even apply for awards, people often don't want to give you the money because you're the ecosystem builder. The final entrepreneur needs it. On the other hand as well, impact investors want to invest in high growth entrepreneurs, whereas you targeting startups as a startup yourself. So my question is, it's kind of twofold. Firstly is, what is the kind of credibility that you could put in place to actually create yourself larger than life so people can kind of trust you as a brand to invest in? Yeah, and kind of like, what are your kind of mini steps in this journey?
Yeah.
Because ecosystem building is very ambitious. It's especially in a market where it may not, the pieces may be there, but it's not matured in terms of coming together.
I think naturally by my training, so I studied a Bachelor of Science in Property Studies at UCT. Started my career at Rand Merchant Bank, and then went to Botswana, as already mentioned. And I've been involved in development that have changed our communities and being in those situations. Now, in my view, is we've got two options in life. Either you start something or you don't. Now, where we are in communities, we're at crossroads. And it's going to take us to be able to address those crossroads. Now, when you talk about credibility, why did I work for 6, 7 years and get involved in these projects? It was exactly that, to build my track record, to have the ability to start a project and complete in regards to that. How did I come up with the idea? It's not even an idea. How did I come up with the energy and the will to want to do this? Because when I was doing one of the shopping malls in Botswana, there used to be a lot of youth business people looking for space. Now you're competing with multinational tenants. Multinational talents with a long profile. And when you come and you value real estate in commercial sense, you use the income and the lease. Now, here we are. There's individuals who need an opportunity to be in these centers, but they cannot be there. And I realized then we need to spark this. We need to help them to build a track record so that in future, they can also participate in those areas. So my track record is based on my experience as a developer. When I talk about business operation in terms of instilling sustainability to address environmental and climate issues, with my work I do for the tourism and grading facilities, where Botswana, our facilities are recognized as tourism facilities. That has also given me that experience. Why did we initially put our money? In fact, I had to be very innovative about how I can put money and start this business. So Thelma, I actually gave her her first contract at my wedding. I had to negotiate with my wife, but through that, we paid her. We bought her a new uniform. I wish I had shown the picture. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, okay, it's right there. So we did that. My Baba, I go to him all the time, and I get all my friends to go to him. The security guard system, Mr. Sheneke, he guards around the complexes that we live in. So at times when we address these issues, and I'm getting to the level of how even within our immediate environment, there's always a need. I don't even have to go far to look for these individuals. They're already within that. So in answering that, my working, I'm now a partner at GFI Property Group, and thanks to Yali, it was a catalyst in terms of making that bold decision. So the credibility over time, I can answer a question in terms of what I've done, but at the same time, we're at a crossroad, we have options. Either we're going to be the change we want, and we have to start at grassroots and create our tables, or we can step back.
Thank you, Bakan.
Any other question? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is
so it's
it?
just 2 questions by the judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But thank you very much. That
No
was really
problem.
good.
I'll wait for
man.
some more.
Okay, so now I will ask the judge to take their decision. So there's Marcia who will accompany them to the green room. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to invite the 5 fellows and participants to come and join me on the stage. And we'll let the audience ask questions for. Okay, so I think, yeah, there's people here which are already with a mic. So do you guys have any question? Who want to start? Okay, can you hand it to...
Thank you very much. My name is Elma Siamuzwe. My first question goes to Dr. Jane Jerry. Looking at the intervention that you have come up with is very brilliant and all, but I'm thinking with the capital-intensive nature of your project, what is the role of government in it? Because I know you need equipment for physiotherapy and all that. What role is government doing in terms of supporting you, and how do you hope to get support for other equipment other than the government, because I can imagine there are challenges. I mean, they have trained the technicians, so they should have a plan for such facilities. What other avenues have you looked into to source material for the physiotherapy? My second question goes to Aaron Mwewa. I would have really appreciated to see a demo of how this system works. If I'm going to track my vote, how do I do it? Is it like a parcel, you know, the way that you can track a parcel coming from one place, you've sent it to the other? Is it the way it's going to work for the voting system, that I've placed my vote there, I'm tracking it to say they have counted it now? Is that how it's going to work? Thank you.
So, Jen, do you want to start?
Yes. Okay, thank you for your question. I think the role of government is to, initially we have the structure there, which is a government structure. And already the government, we have the posts of the rehabilitation technicians, but they're not posted to the district hospitals. Because as soon as they finish their studies, they're taken up by the private sector. And on top of that, with the way our Ministry of Health is funded, the priority goes to infectious diseases and other things like that. That's why we have come in, and now we've started working with the local government first. That's why we've gone to the district commissioner who has approved it, and we have good support. So I think we are now trying to say, okay, here we are supporting you, and how are you going to support us? And the support that we're hoping for is that they're going to see that the community recognizes that there's that need to have those services there. And like I said, we have support from the faith side that have offered us a building. So now it's going to be up to them. For example, if we register more and more children and the space in the district hospital is not enough, and yet we are there, we're offering, we have the equipment and we're offering the services with one person, and yet they have people to post, they have people that they could potentially post, then that's when we'll feel like they're not playing their part. So I think their role is to bring in the people who are already trained, who are already paid by government, but they're only put in the central hospital, which is far for most of the people who need those services. So for me, I think that's their role now, to bring the providers to the district. And possibly when we have the figures to say this many children need these services in this area, then they can come in and also bring more equipment, build a bigger structure specifically for rehabilitation services. Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. Aaron?
Thank you for the question. The tracking is in relation to the sharing of information, in relation to your votes. At the point before you cast your vote, the process surrounding the counting of the votes, right up to the announcement of the results. So you're following up on everything else that is happening in that entire process. And we are not limiting it to just certain special bodies or the political parties who might have their own vested interests. We're even empowering the actual voter, the actual citizens, to own the process, to share information surrounding the different processes that are associated with the voting process. So we're giving them the power, in other words. What we are only providing is a central collation system, which now sends out, once the information is gathered, it sends it back to the different stakeholders, who includes the very people who went to vote.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. Can we pass the mic to Mr. Gambiti at the back, please?
My question's for Aaron. You said you spent about $7,500 on research, US, sorry. In my brief research, I've come across exactly the same kind of platform. So was your research into creating or developing the idea, or finding out more about your local community? Yeah. You've heard of a platform called Votizen? Votizen, you've heard of Votizen? Yeah. So it's pretty much similar, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just trying to find out where your research was exactly.
Well, the research has been on some of the already existing projects, but what we are trying to do is to go a step further by enhancing the platform. That's why we're using the word enhanced for the platform. And this is why we're actually even engaging the actual monitors themselves, who are users of this information, as well as the voters themselves in different parts of the continent, and finding out what sort of information they are looking for, which they have not been getting during the election process.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. So we'll pass the mic. Yeah, so Mr. here, and then after you. Okay, if we can give a mic to this woman here, please.
Okay, good afternoon, Cindy. I enjoyed your presentation, very passionate. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly is your business model like? How do you make money, or is it a social venture? Thank you.
Okay, as I previously stated, we have the 30 titled children's book series. So even though we're a social entrepreneurship company, we also realize that we have to be for profit. So we have these two products in the form of books. And now we've been in the communities, like I was saying, but now we want to be in the communities in a more relevant way, where we're actually promoting literacy by actually being in the communities and actually doing that. So that is a separate thing, and this is the for-profit aspect of it is a separate thing, and then this aspect of it is our social entrepreneurship, because we always believe that you have to give back. And Bala Africa really was just because we got tired of our kids being exposed to books that aren't even relevant to them, that even the multimedia that they're exposed to doesn't have books or products that is relevant to them. But then we realized, okay, so what is the whole point if our kids can't even read? So that's why I stated that this project, we are very passionate about it. The facilities are there. The ideal situation would be to have a rural digital learning center. But then we realized that you have to start off small, and you can actually use the infrastructure, the equipment that's already there, and actually empower those people who are supposed to be empowering our children. So we always wanted to, yes, get the African child to fall in love with reading, but how does the African child fall in love with reading if they can't read, or if their teachers can't teach? So this is actually, all in all, we want to just generate traffic to our books, you know, but whether it's our books, whether it's your books, whether it's whoever's books, we just want our children to read and learn.
Thank you, Cindy. Yes, please.
Good day, Rita from Angola. This question goes for Bakang, right? Bakang. Okay. I'm very proud of your project, because there's nothing better than giving wings to someone who's in need rather than flying for them. Regarding your project, I wanted to know first, for how long have you been running it? And second of all, this kind of initiative normally requires lots of resources, material. I know you guys spend a lot, because I'm sure you don't only give equipment to people, but you also ensure that you teach them how to make use of them, probably some kind of mentoring that you give to them for a while, so that you make sure that the products are being well used, so that you're not wasting products, and then you have to come and rescue them again. So I want to know, do you have this kind of product service, which is sort of mentoring them for a while? And second of all, and third of all, what kind of support do you have from the public and the private sector?
Yep.
To sustain this kind of project?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. We started the initiative this year, beginning of the year, formally. Currently where we are is we're still at the stages, because remember as well, identifying people to invest in, you have to also have your criteria. So our criteria is to look at if somebody has had a track record in trying, maybe over a year, in whatever that they were doing. So we haven't even gone to the stages of at that level, because it's a new initiative that we're trying to put together. And secondly, one of our, how we're gonna raise the capital for the fund is we'll be approaching large corporate organization. A lot of times these organizations, they give out money to CSI and the like, and our model is to approach these organizations and say, some of that money can be used in the fund, and we can identify as well businesses that can be infiltrated in their value chain system. In that case, then it's a win-win for the organization. So that's one element that we're gonna be able to raise money. But in regards to going out there and looking for more support, we're not even yet at that level, because we're still setting up even the parameters for the fund.
Okay, thank you. My question is directed to the fellow from Zambia on elections. What legal structures are they that you've put to protect your organization? Because you basically, if you're talking about monitoring the votes, you would actually need, let's say, an electronic voters roll, which you would probably get if you approach the government itself through the registry. And in my country, given that from Zimbabwe, Kennedy from Zimbabwe, given that elections are very contentious, it's very difficult for an organization to put out results out there, otherwise you'll be arrested. So I'm looking at a situation where I would want to maybe adopt the program and also learn from your program, and also the legal structures and protections that you've put in place in the event that maybe the elections are contentious and also they've probably been rigged in your country, and you've got other means to protect and also make sure the organization is sustainable going forward. Thank you.
Do you want to add something?
Yes. Well, like I stated, I think the beauty about the platform is that it's not a closed platform. It's not a kind of one-size-fits-all approach we have. Depending on the different countries, certain elements of the platform may not be as relevant, or they may and granted also different countries have different regulations governing their electoral processes. So that is why I actually did state that the platform can be scaled up or down depending on the user needs. So if, for instance, you want to work with us on the platform in Zimbabwe, we have to sit down and perhaps focus only on elements that are relevant to your political space vis-a-vis the regulations that are in your country. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's quite fluid. And the whole process, when it needs to be implemented in a specific country, we have to be alive to the processes that govern the elections.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Yes, so do you have a question? Yeah, so, and then you, okay.
Okay, my name is Sydney. This is to my brother there from Zambia. Number one, I need to know, are you planning to implement this in the coming Zambian elections? Then you're saying yes, which means you have 2 months.
I'm listening. I was not.
You have 2 months, exactly 2 months, because elections are on August 11th. And from my perspective, it might be a bit late, but obviously it's up to you to make. Then number two, what are your strategies, of fighting back the political power? Because programs like these ones are fought because elections are not transparent all over, even up to the USA. They are not transparent. So what are your strategies in fighting the politicians? Because if you implement this and there's a big contention of results, you might find that your next home will be the prison for a couple of weeks. So I'll be curious to know what are your strategies, and also in terms of timing. Are you on time? Are you not late? Elections are on August 11th, 2 months from now. Thank you.
Do you want to add something?
Can I proceed?
Do you want to say something before the next question?
Yes. As regards to whether or not we are going to use the platform with regard to the Zambian election, I wouldn't really commit ourselves to that because we're still engaging with possible funding sources. Because granted, it's a huge project that would demand for some formal funding so that we can execute it properly. So for now, there is no commitment yet, but we already have the different components ready. So should we be able to access the necessary funds, we could just make it in time. Like I did state even in the beginning, I mean, this is a competition, and competitions are very tightly contested. So it's going to be a process that will need us to engage the different political players. And what we are saying, even for the political parties, is that you all do need this system, and as much as the members of the general public. And we are not making the system only accessible or making the provision of inputting data to a select few. We are opening it up to the general citizenry so that they can own the platform themselves and send data into it. So when it's being run as one component, for instance, inside that component, there can be different portions or platforms. There could be maybe a platform through which citizens are sending information. There could be a platform through which the Electoral Commission is sending the results. There could be a platform where we are sending pictures or audio sound, where even a citizen, for instance, can go at a polling station and conduct an interview to give us a picture of what is obtaining there, and it can be sent on that platform. So it is a citizen-driven process.
Thank you, Aaron. Gentlemen?
Is it on?
Yep.
Cool. My question is towards the gentleman from Malawi. Monitoring system. Zambia, sorry. So you've mentioned that you've already spent almost 7.5 USD in terms of research. And if I understand well, your product is not yet ready. So my question to you is, did you consider doing the MVC for your project? Because it sounds like you've already spent a lot of money and you haven't done any POC. So how do you ensure that your product is going to hit the market and it's really required?
Well, the research actually involved us engaging firstly the people themselves and finding out the information they require in relation to the elections, and also having interacted and engaged actively. It's like a business. You have to sort of test the waters, test the ground as it were, and we have done quite a lot of that in different countries. Should we also just choose to run it as, for instance, a mobile application on the phone? There could be different subscription models. So the platform itself actually can generate funds which can be used to implement it and run it in different countries. Well, yes. One thing that I mentioned also in my presentation, that it could be run as one complete platform. We could also make it in such a manner, for instance, if you are a political party and you want us to give you that platform to use yourself to follow through the election, we can also package a platform specific to your needs. And you would pay us for that service, and would train your people on how to independently manage the system, even without our involvement, if you want yourself to track the electoral process as a political player.
So you've done a POC?
Yes,
Okay.
kind of.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Can we please head the mic to the gentleman there, please?
The essence of a competition is that the winner takes all and the losers get to crawl. The first question is a yes or no answer across the board, from Mozambique all the way to Swaziland. Would you be interested in sharing the prize? Yes or no? Starting from you.
I didn't get the question, please. Come again.
Would you be interested in sharing the prize money? Yes or no?
Share the prize.
Yes or no?
Yes. But not with you.
Okay, okay.
Amongst the participants, that's what I'm asking.
Yes.
No.
As you said, it's a competition. No.
No.
You know, having just...
Yes or no?
You know what, I just believe that it should just go to one person so that they can be more effective. So
Okay.
whether it's me or not, it doesn't really matter, because these are all great projects.
Okay. During the presentation, one of the things that I picked up is that some of you have used your personal finances to fund the project. Can we crunch the numbers to a bare minimum so that those who fall through the cracks, we can understand how to uplift them or to help them? So the bare minimum that you can you need assistance for, just give us a number that that would do for me.
I'm so lost.
Okay, thank you. Another question?
I want to find out from each participant the bare minimum that they could do with in case they don't win the competition.
Okay, he's saying, what's the bare minimum that you could
to start the
need? Yeah.
Okay.
You should have
Was that addressed to me or no? Okay, so I think you should let them think of what you say because it's pretty direct. So I mean,
I think what's
yeah.
important is, I know it's a very direct question, but this is a platform where we're sharing ideas in terms of, so beyond the competition really, I think the real value is in terms of the thinking and debating these issues. This is why we're here, because those business must be debated so that we can refine them. In case there might be some funds available, about $10,000 just to kickstart 150,000 pula, give each and every business. So it will be very kind of you.
And I definitely know that I would need 165,000 in Malangeni just to do the software development, and then after that, I'm sure I could take it forward.
I think in my presentation it was clear that we need about 8 million Malawi kwacha, which is roughly 11,000 US dollars, to sort of start off the project and have the equipment that we need. Yeah.
For me, I think around 40,000 US dollars. We want to make money out of it. So we need to invest adequate resources in it. So, and one thing is, like I did say, I emphasized on the fact that it can be scaled up or down. So if we don't have as much money, it will probably limit the sort of information that the platform can gather. If we have a lot of money, the more the information we can gather. So it can be scaled up or down, depending.
Okay, thank you.
For Antendere Learning Center, we needed 30,000 US dollars. I think I've mentioned when I was presenting.
Right. Thank you to you. Is there any more question?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to sit. Okay, so maybe.
Thanks.
All right, so it seems that it's really hard for the judge.
Whilst I have your attention, let me tell you about what's happening tonight. It's not on the program because we plan to announce it here due to legalities around it, because it's a private screening. One of our fellows, Shane, he will be having a private screening of his movie Bypass. Once the we will be handing out flyers just for a small blurb on what the movie is about. So you can catch that once we're done with the pitch competition on your way out. We'll just finalize the time with the team because I think it should be 7 for 7:30. It's a 92-minute movie, so if for those of you that are interested, it will be in this hall or next door. I'll just confirm that for you, but we'll announce it at the end of the pitch competition. All right, so we'll see you tonight. We're doing it proper, cinema style, popcorn, seats as comfortable as the one you're sitting in right now. Yeah, you know, it's the best we could do. So yeah, guys, it's gonna be a nice, relaxed, cozy setup. And yeah, we're gonna have popcorn. And yeah, that'll be tonight. We'll appreciate if you come out support. Yeah, back to Rick.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so yeah, looking forward for tonight. That sounds great. So as is there? No. Okay, as you can see, it's getting really hard for the judge to. I mean, these guys has really some really great project. So I mean, it's still open if anyone has any suggestion or question. Okay.
Hi, my name is Juscelina. I'm from Mozambique. I don't have a question. It's just a suggestion across all the presenters that maybe when you present your projects, you focus a little more on the business model and how, like, the sustainability part, not on how much your project is needed, but like if you'll be able to return the investment, if the project would actually make any money, or if it's not, like sort of be clear on that. Mainly because some of the numbers are very high, and when you mention that it's going to be free, it's not very understandable for the judges or for potential investors if it's a project that they would just give as a donation, or it's a potential investment. That's it.
Any other participant want to add on that, or?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Atemba Mundiamwimo, and I'm from Zambia. So my contribution would go to Jane, and I'd like to find out if I should be interested in any collaborations, and also just to maybe find out if it's possible for her to maybe go and find means and ways of working with maybe civil society organizations in Malawi as well as government officials. Thank you.
Jen?
Thank you. Yes, I am interested in collaborations. For example, I told you some of the people that I'm working with are, do you want me to stand? Okay. The person that I'm working with was working for government, but he left. And there are other people who are from the community, like the district disability needs coordinator. So I am interested in collaborating with whoever wants to support the initiative. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you very much. My name is Charles Kajereka from Malawi. I thought again maybe there could be some combined efforts apart from maybe just looking for equipment. That's for Dr. Jane. I think what you had indicated in the presentation was lack of political will to have this equipment placed in the hospitals. Or just looking at maybe apart from looking for equipment, from where researchers could also be looking at the advocacy point of view. So I want to agree with my brother here who mentioned maybe the collaboration with civil society so that we are able to, put the advocacy so that we are able to get that political will. I think resources are there, but maybe the question of political will is quite critical. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to add on that? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So now I will hand the mic to Marcia, and we have finally we have the result. So I just want to wish all the candidates good luck, and I just want to say if one door closes, there's always another one who opens. So.
Thank you very much. Wow, there's a lot of exciting debate in that room. And thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. To all of you, really interesting projects that you have on the way. I'd now like to announce the prize winners. And what I'll also do when I announce your prize, I'd like to ask the judges who are giving that particular prize to join you on stage. We do have certificates for you, but there was no time to write your names on it. So we'll give it to you blank. and then we'll immediately write it after. Is that okay? Great stuff. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm in the lion's den. No, what is it called? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Get my order correctly. And my certificates. Right. Okay. The 5th prize in the pitch competition goes to, and let me tell you what it includes. It includes guaranteed executive coaching courtesy of Econet Wireless, Career Core, and Management Leadership for Tomorrow, MLT. And it also includes a Procter & Gamble beautiful goodie bag. The 5th prize goes to Aaron Moewa. Could you please go on stage? Can you also come on stage, please? Go on stage and hand it over. Thank you. And please. Oh, okay. No, please go for the small ones. Great. Thank you, everyone. 4th prize, which includes a guaranteed executive coach, courtesy of Econet Wireless, Career Core, and Management Leadership for Tomorrow, MLT, and a Procter & Gamble goodie bag, goes to Manuel Francisco. Can we give this to you? I'm sorry. They'd like to do it separately. Sorry, guys. You can go. Please go on stage.
Thank you.
Yes, please stand up 5 times. Oh, I said that to the Great. 3rd prize, which includes, a Procter & Gamble beautiful bag, goodie bag. It also includes a special gift that was given to us today by a mentor, Dr. Manj Sabia. She's given a book to the 3rd prize winner, Handbook of Intuitive Intelligence for Entrepreneurs. So this is also part of the gift. It also includes 20,000 rands worth of business modeling. So I think that's really exciting from Procter & Gamble. And that goes to Cindy.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a bit disorganized. Great. And now this is where it really got interesting. The 2nd prize, which includes Procter & Gamble goodie bag, and also the Impact Hub will provide advisory support to the winner to assist them in setting up a hub in their own country. And Bank ABC has topped that up now, and when they come up, they will also introduce what they'd like to give the 2nd prize winner. So it's a bit of a surprise, even I don't know. So the 2nd prize goes to Bakang. Oh, lucky. Please hand this over. No, you go on stage. Oh. You please go on stage. Yes, please. Yeah. Do you
Okay, we are going to give back 5 hours with our CEO for CIB, who spoke yesterday, Dr. Mabuba, and we're also going to give him access to our resources in Botswana.
Could you wait there? You've got to take that. Impact Hub? Oh, yes. Impact Hub will not be outdone.
Okay, so the first is supporting local ecosystem mapping, as well as positioning of what you're doing. And if you choose to set up your own local impact hub, we usually charge people for it, but free coaching along the journey.
I told P&G they should stay here. Please go back. Thank you. Great. Thank you. And well, do I need to say who won first prize? But can I just quickly share the exciting stuff that Jane has won? Jane has won 10 hours of coaching with Bank ABC executive Dr. Mabuba Diane, who was here yesterday, and linkages within the business. That's your first prize. Also part of your prize, the Impact Hub Johannesburg, which has a network of impact hubs across the world. It will connect you with 10 contacts within each of those hubs, 10 hubs of your choosing that you can connect with to grow your business. And the third part of your gift is a Procter & Gamble big goodie bag. So can we ask, please? Another round of applause for Jane. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think I'd just like to say in closing, I know we ran a bit long with our judges. I really want to thank and acknowledge all of our judges, Bank ABC, Career Corps, Impact Hub Johannesburg, and Procter & Gamble. I mean, even as they debated in terms of all your exciting presentations, I mean, they were giving even additional prizes that we are not aware that they would be giving. So judges, as you continue to deliberate, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. A group shot. Can the judges, quickly just get on stage for a final photo? And thank you so much, everyone, for spending the day listening to the exciting pitches.
Thank you so much, everyone. And congratulations to the winners. And I'd just like to say there'll now be a 15-minute coffee break outside in the conference foyer. And the skill-enhancing breakouts will begin at 3 p.m. in Kanya 1, 2, and 3.